right. Good afternoon, everybody. Hey, I am Anne Eller. It is Meet Me at the Diner, 4:07 in the afternoon. And I tell you what, the weather has been marvelous. Right now, we are at, is that right? Is it only 78 degrees out there? Not bad. Pretty nice weather.
It feels great. It really does.
78 degrees, 62 is what it's going to be tonight. Weekend looks very, very good. Friday's going to be in the mid-80s. Saturday is going to be in the mid-80s, low in the 60s. And there's going to be a mud race going on. That's right. And I have Miller Murphy to talk to us about that from over there at Connie Mac and so much more. How you doing, Miller?
I'm doing great, and you're right. We do have perfect weather for the event. You know, first team will be off at 9 a.m., so it'll probably be in the upper 60s, low 70s, something like that. It's going to be beautiful.
It is. And I just got to, first I want to jump in and just say, what made y'all possess to do a mud run?
Well, I think we just have a few too many crazy people. But actually, Eric Taylor, Brad Martin, Eric, of course, is our Vice President for Development, and Brad Martin, who runs our farm out at Oasis at Connie Maxwell, have been talking about it for a while now. And, of course, Connie Maxwell has to raise funds in order to exist and take care of children and families, and we have to raise 80% of our budget every year. And so that's just a part of that. And it gets people out on our campus. It helps them to understand a little bit better who we are. And it's just a good way to celebrate life and get families and all out and just have a good time.
Yeah, a good time getting muddy. You were showing me some of the pictures that we saw where they've been practicing, I guess, the course and everything.
Our children, it's been kid tested. And we just had a great time out letting them run through the mud and had a good time. Now, the neat thing about their day out there is we rode them around in a truck to each element. They didn't have to run the whole course. But we do have several kids who are going to run it, and they're very excited about it. We have over 300 people registered. That's 4-member teams and creative names. We have people that have created names like the Bald and the Beautiful. Ladies who are running, 3 females and a guy that are running as a team, and they're Beauties and the Beast. And another team, I think, is a word to your mudder, MUDDER. And they've come up with all kind of names. And I think people are excited about it. I think Greenwood is a good way to connect with the community and just celebrate who we are and who they are and just have a good time and be a kid again. It's basically what you get the opportunity to do. And nobody gets in trouble for getting muddy.
Yeah. Now, they have to run through mud puddles and, I saw some of this. What type of things are they going to have to go through?
Well, there are 23 obstacles, and there's some unique items out there, too. There's even a tire obstacle to go through. There's a wall to go over, as well as running through the mud. You're going to run twice through 2 different ponds on the campus at Connie Maxwell. Of course, we have that sectioned off to where you don't get into the deep end. You're just going to have a little element to run through, and they're just going to have a great time just experiencing that. Now, a large part of the course is the farm, and so they'll be running through fields and so forth, and then they get to that mud element, and they've designed those out, and it's been carefully thought out and planned.
Wow.
3-mile course on top of that.
3 miles of mud and fields.
And fun.
And fun. There you go.
That would be a good way to say it. Field and fun.
Field and fun. Well, that sounds great. Now, I guess if somebody doesn't want to participate in it, but they would like to come out and watch, they could come out and watch, too.
Certainly. Yeah, we welcome it. Cheer on the teams that are running and get probably a good laugh while you're doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but we got all kind of neat people from the Greenwood community and outside the Greenwood community that are coming, and great sponsors, that are sponsoring the event. So we're very, very appreciative of the community getting behind this.
Now, this is going to be with 300 people. That sounds like that's going to be a pretty good fundraiser.
Yes, I think it is. Teams registered $100 a team, and after a certain date, because registration and trying to get everything ready, it went up to $120. It's still a good cost. It's not exorbitant or anything like that, but that will go to help to minister to children and families, throughout the South Carolina. So we're very happy about that.
Well, and this is the first one.
This is the inaugural event. We appreciate folks like County Bank here in Greenwood, Greenwood Capital. They are our major gold sponsors that are helping to back this. along with several other sponsors who, actually we have several obstacle sponsors, as well, and so we're very excited about that.
I think that is terrific. But one of the things that I think maybe people don't realize is you said you had to raise 80%?
Right, 80% of our budget we have to raise. We're a ministry of the South Carolina Baptist, and about 10% of our budget comes from the cooperative program, and then 10% comes from direct church gifts. So the other 80% we have to raise, and we have roughly an $8 million budget per year. And
well, let's see, how much money is that, Miller? That's a lot of buckos.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, if you think about it, if you think about the average family, maybe even has 4 family members, mother, father, son, daughter, something like that. Think about what you have to pay in the way of insurance, school costs, food, clothing, housing, transportation. If they want to be in extracurricular activities at school, that's a lot of funds. And in our case, we have 8 kids to a cottage. And you just think about all those things, all those arms that get broken and all that other stuff, when they're out playing and doing and being involved in sports. And it's just neat to see these kids get that kind of a chance to live life. And
how many kids right now are living on Connie Mac's
we
campus?
have 9 cottages are open for children. We have 8 kids to a cottage. That's 72. Then we have the emergency shelter near the farm that has another 8 children. Of course, we're not just in Greenwood. We have a satellite campus in Malden for girls, and they have 6 there. We have 8 up in Chesterfield for an emergency. It started as an emergency shelter, but several of the children there really needed a permanent place to stay, so that's kind of changed a little bit. But they're boys and girls. Another 8 in Florence, that's a teenage girl campus. And then a boys campus down in Orangeburg where there's 16.
Wow.
And so it's
over 100 and some. I was counting in my head, I think.
Yeah, and right now we have 6 children, or I shouldn't say children, young adults actually in college. And we have another 5 getting ready to graduate in this coming graduation in May, June. I can't remember what their actual graduation date is. But, so we're going to have like close to 12 kids in college, and think about that cost.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things that always impresses me is the number of people that have spent time at Connie Mac and continue to come back to Connie Mac and give back, whether it's the Christmas program when you have a lot of people, or what is it, you're going to be 123 years?
123 years old on May 22nd.
And you always do something, big gathering of everybody.
Right, and we will this year. We're going to have a major campus party, so to speak, and that's nice to be able to celebrate. Over 16,000 children have come through the homes of Connie Maxwell. And that's who we are. We're a home. We're not an institution. We actually try to provide a home Christian environment for children so that they can enjoy life, that they're not harmed, they can feel safe, and then do whatever they want to do. We have a couple of kids right now that are in nursing, some in criminal justice. I have a young lady up at Clemson University who's studying to be an OBGYN. I mean, think about that. I mean, these are kids that have pretty much been abandoned in their lives, and now they have an opportunity to be whatever they can be. And we're excited about that.
Well, and they go to the local schools.
Right.
They go to the local schools. I've known several from Emerald that
Right.
graduated from
Which
Emerald.
y'all broadcast
and
a football game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you were the voice of the Emerald Vikings over there. In fact, you came back for their 20th anniversary.
I did, and thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun being back and supporting the kids. And, I had done it previously for 10 years back in the early 2000s. And then when they had the 20th anniversary of the high school, they said, Miller, would you come back again? And that was an honor. It really was. I was really tickled they asked. And it's
I
been
think
a
they were
pleasure.
really glad you were back, too. I think that was missing.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hope so. But yeah, when I stopped to follow, and this is a great story, Kadarin Anderson, he was all
Right.
Lakelands and so forth, and I'd been, announcing his games, his brother's game, and all kind of other Connie Max kids that were playing Emerald football. And I was Friday night football, Saturday going up to Furman to be a sideline photographer, and then Sunday speaking in the church somewhere. And I was getting old because Mondays starts work again, so.
Something had to give.
Yeah, so finally, I went up so I could be at all his games, even went to some away games, and Furman always allowed me to be a photographer on the sidelines. And he's done extremely well with his life, happily married, and very proud of him.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
That's you know, those are the stories that you like to hear.
Oh,
Yeah,
indeed.
yeah. Those are
Indeed.
the stories you like to hear, and so many times we hear of kids that don't have. In fact, when we come back, we're going to be talking about some of those stories out there. We're also going to touch on. You may not know the Connie Mack story and how it started and how they ended up here in Greenwood. So we're going to touch on that. We're going to be talking about some of the new ways that they are, what shall we say, reinventing and adding to today's world and being givers here at Connie Mack. So we'll be right back. Don't you go away. Oh, yes, he is. He's having a lot of fun here with us this afternoon, right here on WCRS. Yes, I'm Anne Eller. Yes, I'm here with Reverend Miller Murphy, who is over there at Connie Maxwell. You know, it's a beautiful campus. If you've ever driven by it or if you have had the joy of going by there at Christmas time to see all the lights and the decorations, they spend months getting ready for that, and they do excellent work helping make young children into adults and giving them all the opportunities that we would like for all of our children. So I wanted you to just kind of tell us, how did Connie Maxwell get started?
Well, like I said, on May 22nd, we're going to turn 123. That's when we received our first child into care, but it started before then, of course. South Carolina Baptists were looking for a home, a location, a place, a children's home. At that time, an orphanage. It began as Connie Maxwell Orphanage. And really sweet couple out of the Greenwood area, J.C. and Sarah Maxwell, had several children to die in infancy. Finally, they had a little girl to live to be almost 8 years of age, but unfortunately she died of scarlet fever. And instead of being angry, and just turning inward and so forth, they decided we can still help children. And we're thankful to God for allowing us to have a little girl for as long as we did. And so they called South Carolina Baptist up and said, come place your orphanage here. We'll give you 400 acres of land and support you financially as well. And lo and behold, they did it. And they said, just one favor we ask is that if you'll name it after our little girl, Connie Maxwell, which I'm glad we did. It sounds inviting, when you hear a child's name being used. And it's just a place of faith. It's a place, if you can see those kind of folks struggling through what they went through, and then have the room in their heart to start this kind of ministry where over 16,000 children have been cared for now. That's amazing. You've got to work hard for this place, because if they can do that, I can do anything too. That's just what it's about.
It is a beautiful, beautiful facility, and at a time where in history here, we should say, that so many of the children's homes and whatnot are actually having to close down. It's difficult to keep a children's home, particularly an independent, a dependent, shall we say, on the Baptists, but still independent from all the other regulations and whatnot that can be out there.
Right, and there are many. Trust me, we've been going through the licensing process, which we have to do every year through the state of South Carolina Department of Social Services. Matter of fact, I think within just the last couple of days they finished doing the licensing process down at our Orangeburg campus. But so we have to meet those kind of regulations. When we built our home in Chesterfield, we were asked by DSS at the time to place a home like that because they had nowhere to go with children. They needed an emergency shelter. They would take a child out of a bad situation, and they'd have to stay in the offices of the county DSS. And so if y'all could build a home, it'd be wonderful. Well, of course, we're a nonprofit. We're not an industry that sells something or whatever else. And so that was a big step of faith. And a lot of times I challenge people to give me an answer as to this question. If you had 8 children, how big a home and how much would it cost with all the regulations? $600,000 just to build a home. And that's like 10 years ago now.
Wow.
I don't know what it would be today. And we had one of our alumni, believe this or not, a gentleman who had survived. He graduated Connie Maxwell, his first station as a Marine in Hawaii, of all places, but unfortunately it was 1941.
That wasn't a good time for Hawaii.
No, it wasn't. And he was on board right behind the Arizona on the USS Nevada. But he survived Pearl Harbor and was very industrious. As many kids that come out of Connie Maxwell are, you learn a good, strong work ethic. You learn how to be responsible for who you are. And so he said when he found out that we were building in Chesterfield, which was his hometown, he said, I'll pay for the cost of the home.
Wow. And
oddly enough, or not oddly enough, I really feel like God's hand was in this. The location that we could find in Chesterfield for that home was between the county park and the South Carolina Baptist Church. And lo and behold, that South Carolina Baptist Church is where his family years ago had been members. And
wow.
They said, well, we've got to help do something, so they paid for the land.
Wow.
And the community has just supported us ever since. I'm amazed at what has taken place in Chesterfield alone. And just the whole community
amazing what people can do
right.
if they put their minds to it.
Right. It's, like a while ago when we were talking, I think off air at that point, just about community and what Greenwood is like and the way people get behind things. And that old southern town that has that mill village, and you just learn to support one another and help one another. And that's kind of what took place with that home. And it helps with all our other homes as well. But that's just a unique story. I thought, we stepped out in faith. We really didn't have the budget to do it. But we said, that's what God wants to do. That's what we're going to do. And that's a good illustration of that. But over the last several years, we had a very different director in South Carolina for our, heading DSS.
And when we come back, we're going to talk about some of that,
okay.
because we'll have the time to talk about it. Right now, though, we're going to join South Carolina Radio News. Don't you go away.
Arg, are you a pirate or a pack rat? Do you have a vacation of a lifetime sitting in the attic? Or a college tuition hung on a wall? Or is a fabulous retirement hidden in your jewelry box? Bring those items to Sharp Facets Gallery. We can establish value and buy from you or sell for you. And so ends another chapter at Sharp Facets Gallery, 72 Bypass, and on the web, sharpfacets.com.
Oh, that's right. We're right back here, Sharp Facets Gallery this afternoon, talking with Reverend Miller Murphy from over there at Connie Maxwell. We've talked some about the mud race that is going on this Saturday. That's right. Any room for any more to sign on?
Actually, you can. They have cut the online registration off now so that we can kind of get our ducks in a row, pardon the pun, for mud running ponds and everything. But anyway, they can actually register from 9 to 10 at the event itself this coming Saturday. So
now, where will they actually go to check in or to register?
Right, out at the Connie Maxwell Farm. Best way, if you're coming, like say from Emerald High School, just continue down the bypass and you'll see the fire station on the right, and on to the left is the farm. There'll be signs directing you where to park and so forth, and it's right there at Connie Maxwell's beautiful farm, and that's like 570 acres now of farmland, where we still have an equestrian program now that's just done extremely well and helped a lot of kids. We still raise beef cattle, we still raise vegetables and so forth that goes into the homes. So it's just a beautiful, absolutely beautiful location for this. I think people enjoy that, if anything,
Well, they usually have, what do you have in the late summer or something, Harvest Fest?
Oh, the Harvest Fest with the
right.
Lakelands Baptist Association. We'll have anywhere around 3,000 young people and folks just out on beach blankets and lawn chairs and hear a great speaker, share the gospel, and also have great bands, a lot of local bands that'll play. Just a huge event now. I remember started off with just a couple hundred, and now we're up to 3,000. It's kind of like Connie Maxwell Christmas. I remember it was in the hundreds, at first, and now for the last 3 years we've averaged over 3 nights 17,000 guests. So
17,000 guests.
It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, and and people say, we'll get into November and people say, I can't wait for Connie Maxwell Christmas, and that's how we start Christmas with our family. And it's become a tradition for so many people, and they come from across the state. We've actually had people from the coast come to it.
Now, how far in advance are y'all putting the lights and doing all this back in the summer, or?
Actually, in the early fall, it really starts in October as far as actually physically getting out there. But we've already been working on repainting some things, from some of the nativity type scenes and so forth, and the little characters that you see.
And the luminaries.
Oh
my gosh!
It's several miles worth of luminaries itself, and so it's a lot of work goes into it. Volunteers pay, help us tremendously, as well as our staff. Our staff gets out and does a lot of it, but we do have some volunteers help as well.
Yeah, 17,000, and that's just at night, like for 3 or 4 hours,
right,
isn't it?
From 6 to 8:30.
Right.
And I think this year it's the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. It's that first full Thursday, Friday, Saturday in December, and we'll have at least 17, throughout the 3 nights.
Wow.
The probably the Thursday night's the lightest crowd. Friday gets a little bit busier, and then Saturday is the big night. And it's just
And
amazing.
what's nice is that you leave the lights out, so that if you don't get there, that you can still drive through afterwards.
And people do.
Yeah.
It's amazing. We'll be leaving late at night, from being at the offices and just see car after car just still driving through, and kids just glued to their windows looking at everything. It's just a beautiful thing to see. And, of course, the event itself, when they get up on those big wagons with those Bavarian horses pulling them, or going to the live nativity, which is always a beautiful event. Or then they can go warm up inside the sanctuary and see a beautiful musical performance, or sit by a bonfire and drink hot chocolate. You just can't beat that. And again, it's being a part of the community. It's helping families, because what's really neat, if you think about it, with all the costs and expenses comes around Christmas time, this is a free event, and anybody and everybody can bring their family to it, and kids love it. I mean, it's just a neat thing to see. We're helping families. That's what we do.
And I think talking about helping families, in fact, one of the things we wanted to talk to before we even get to that is some of the changes that occurred with DSS that actually brought your numbers lower.
That's exactly
what
right.
happened there for a while?
Yeah, when I first arrived at Connie, Maxwell, we had 12 cottages open. That's 96 children, along with the emergency shelter, which is another 8. So just in Greenwood, we had 104 children. And now it's down to 9 cottages, which is 72, and the 8 from the emergency shelter, and that makes for 80. What had happened is, and thank goodness that day is transitioning, and we have a new director now in DSS. Who is very much in favor of places like ours as much as they can be, because of all the federal regulations and so forth. But they know that we're a good place. They, just like there are good foster homes, there are bad foster homes. There's good children's homes, there's bad children's homes. And,
Well, the director before, if I'm understanding what you were saying, was not in favor of a
did
children's
not like
home.
children's homes. And matter of fact, several in the state closed. But because of our history, because of our reputation, we were able to almost fill the place with private placements, which is huge. One of the examples is 53,000 children are being raised in the state of South Carolina by their grandparents. That's the latest numbers that we know.
53,000.
53,000. That's almost the size of most cities in South Carolina.
Well, it is. You're right.
It really is, or even larger than a lot of them. And we've
Where
really
would
worked.
we be without our grandparents here? I mean, for stepping
seriously.
up and doing the job when they thought they were going to be able to step back a little bit and
retire.
enjoy life.
And maybe spoil the grandchildren.
Exactly.
But now they're having to re-raise another set of children. And what's happened is we really got out into the community. We've spoken a lot of local agencies, support places, shelters, that kind of thing. It really just got out there, and people recognize that we care about children. We care about families. And so we were able to maintain where a lot of homes had to close, or severely, more drastic than we ever thought about doing, cut back on their services. That's why I love Connie Maxwell. God has really blessed us, and we get out there and we take care of folks. And because of that, we didn't lose as many as a lot of folks did.
Well, and so as you said, several of the different ones, different children's homes closed.
Right.
I think it's interesting that you said Senator Billy Odell, since he was working with the budget on this, asked her to come by and
Director
inspect,
Kohler at the time.
go and see Connie Mack. And at least on the surface, you said it did seem to change her opinion a little bit.
She really couldn't believe it. She said, they get to do this and that, because she found out about the equestrian program. She found out that we have a full-time recreational staff that works with the children. By the way, our swimming pool for our children, will be opening tomorrow. They're all excited about that, so it's amazing what she saw. And she got to go into the cottage and just see firsthand that the children love our staff, that they do care about them. And so it was a wide awakening experience for her. It didn't change a whole lot of the policy at the time, which is unfortunate.
Right.
But, we had actually dropped to about 5% of our population being DSS-placed children, whereas we used to be 45%, but now we're back up to 20% under the new director and all, and I can see that growing. So I'm very hopeful, because when you talk about a child that's being taken by DSS, they're usually in pretty dire straits.
Sure.
I mean, they're in bad situations. And I hated that time that we went through where they really weren't getting cared for like they needed to be.
Sure.
A lot of folks don't understand, but like I said, there's good children's homes, bad. Good foster homes, bad.
Sure.
And when you try to put them in, this is one of the things they really worked on, was trying to put them with other family members. Unfortunately, they discovered very quickly, and even to the death of some of the children, that putting them with another family member might not be the best thing. They can even be in a worse situation. A lot of times they are, because a lot of times, unfortunately, if a family's in the situation to begin with, more than likely their brothers and sisters will be in drugs and alcohol as well. And that's probably one of the number one things that we battle as folks dealing with drugs.
I think everybody is battling this, and everybody knows somebody that has had to battle drugs and continues to battle it. It's it's very much of a demon out there. Hey, I am Anne Eller. I am here with Reverend Miller Murphy. We are going to hear a quick word from our sponsors, then we're coming right back, and we've got some other things to talk about. It's all about Connie Maxwell today. I hope you'll stay tuned right here with us. Oh, that's right. We're right back here, Sharp Facets Gallery. Miller just looked at his watch and went, "Where did the time go?" Didn't you?
I'm absolutely amazed, to be honest.
Because we just cover a lot of topics and we have a good time talking about it. And I know, Miller, that you were just talking about how many students that graduate, go on, have their own lives, come back and say how important it was for them to learn how to work and how to be responsible.
Right.
And in today's world, we need to see that from our kids. I mean, so many. And like you were talking about, the grandparents will be there, and sometimes the parents won't, but the grandparents are there. We need to capture some of that good old time values.
Exactly. That's what it is too. It's the strong values. How you should live your life and be responsible to others as well as yourself and your family. And, you were talking about the alumni. Every 2 years we have the alumni reunion, and people are amazed at how many folks come back. We'll fill up almost every hotel in Greenwood for our alumni reunion, and that's incredible. That's a testimony to what they've learned, and they're coming
and
home.
How important it is for them to come back.
Right.
Yeah.
And and we're trying to, we're having to meet today's needs as well, and that's why we have started that started as family care in 2012, but now it's called the Family Journey Ministry. And I'm very excited about that and what they've been doing. We've had several families. At one time, I know we had 5 families on campus that had 17 children. And we're just helping single parents who maybe been evicted, possibly they were living in their car before coming to Connie Maxwell, and we help work them through all types of new skills, how to manage a budget, how even to plan to grocery shop.
How to cook?
Yeah, how to cook,
You were telling me a story about one child that they were taking to see his mom, and he'd only been to a 7-Eleven type store to buy food. He didn't know what a grocery store.
Yeah, one of the kids in one of our shelter care, our director was taking them to see their mom in Lawrence, but before doing that, she just wanted to get to know the child better. So they did a lot of things together before that time came. And so one of the things is they went to the grocery store. She needed to pick up some things for home. He even took her by her house, and he was just marveled at the kitchen and so forth, and there was food preparation that would go on. But he had never been in a grocery store before, ever. He didn't know where he was. he got to the produce section and just went wild. What is that? Looking at all the vegetables and fruits. He didn't know. Prior
and
to
what
that,
did he want to buy for his mom to take to his mom?
Well, he ended up buying beef jerky and potato chips because, see, that's what they would go and get at the convenience store for their food.
Yeah.
And that, you have milk and things like that at a convenience store, but that's what they would get. And so
to him, that was a good meal.
That was a good meal.
And that's the important thing. That's
but
what
now
he
he's
felt.
learned differently, and what's neat, and that's one of the things we don't realize. We are blessed so much, and that's one of the things I wish our country would realize more every day. But you think about it, a lot of kids have come and they'll eat their first meal at Connie Maxwell and then wonder when they're going to eat again.
Yeah, I've heard that before. That
Right.
Is this all the food for just tonight?
Right, or
We
just
can have
today.
seconds.
Yeah,
Yes.
or there's going to be breakfast in the morning,
Right,
and
yeah,
lunch, and then
yeah.
supper again.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I mean, that's where they came from. They just didn't know where their next meal was going to come.
Well, the program that they've started in District 50, the program for the backpacks going home on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
Because kids don't have food. They may feed them during the week in school, but when they get home, they don't have good food. And one of the things that they have found is that if a child doesn't eat well over the weekend,
Oh, yeah.
it's Tuesday or Wednesday before their brains actually become
recharged again.
engaged and can learn again.
Oh, and I got to tell you, and I know we haven't really talked about this, but over spring break, our kids went up to Simpsonville area. One of the ministries that they worked with was an after-school program because they had already had their spring break. So school was back in session. These children came across the street to a church next door to the school. They would help them with their homework there. They would actually even provide them with an evening meal. This is what made me think about it. But here are Connie Maxwell kids who come from the same situation that these children are in now.
Right.
And they're ministering to these kids, helping them to do their homework and prepare their meals and go out on the playground and play with them. That to me is incredible, because our kids are learning to give back to the community as well as receiving from the community.
Sure.
And that's one of the things that kind of needs to be said.
It does. And I think that what Connie Max has been able to accomplish, 123 years strong, it really is amazing to have that beautiful piece of property right there, right off of Maxwell Avenue is phenomenal. This the Family Journey Ministry is a great way to show a mom how to take care of your family.
Oh, and one of the recent graduates, and by the way, we helped them go in to find housing. Now they can prepare their meals, they can maintain that budget, but one of our moms recently got a college scholarship. Coming out of that program.
How about
Isn't
that?
that incredible?
That is incredible.
Yeah.
And now she'll be able to provide for her family.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is what is so important. We have to empower people to take care of themselves.
Right.
And
Exactly.
and that's what, of course, what a mission has been with Connie Max. So kudos to the good work and the moving
Thank
things
you.
forward. It never ends, and things just seem to get bigger and bigger.
They do indeed.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
we get busier and busier.
Absolutely. So if you would like to go out to the mud run this Saturday, they're going to be out there. There's 300 people that are already signed up.
Right.
If you'd like to go out there and be part of it, you certainly can. You can sign up what time out there at the farm?
9 to 10. Our very first team is off at 9 a.m. and they'll be going off every 2 minutes. But from 9 to 10, we'll still register if you want to bring a team of 4. It can be all male, it can all be female, or it can be co-ed. And we also have a kids run.
And I guess you don't want to wear your best running attire.
No.
No. So they're really going to get
Come
muddy.
prepared.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they're
Oh,
really
yeah.
going to get muddy.
Yeah.
So are you going to have any spray down showers when they come at the end?
Actually, we do.
Oh, good. So they won't have to get in the car all muddy.
All nasty. No.
Okay.
But like I said, come be a kid again. You can get muddy, nobody's going to holler at you.
Right. Okay. Is there going to be food out there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, food.
Chick-fil-A will be providing some food, and Jersey Mike's is actually providing some food for our volunteers, so oh, yeah.
Jersey Mike's. Talk about that one. What a great promo to open up and give out those coupons for a donation back in, and it was all to Connie Mac.
And went all to Connie Maxwell, and I've heard some preliminary numbers, a little over $3,000 was
That's
raised in
awesome.
that, which is incredible.
That is awesome.
Plus, everybody got to get a neat sub on top of that.
Right.
So it was a win-win situation.
Those are the best type, aren't they?
I guarantee you.
Absolutely.
And they're planning on helping us in the future as well. They're already talking to us about some other things, so it's exciting.
Well, when you have to raise 80% of your budget,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it's a, $8 million budget?
Right.
That's a lot of buckos, folks. So if you can come out and support them, whether it's the mud run, that's a great family, sounds like a great family event.
It is.
And I've heard of some families that are going to be out there doing this already to help out.
They wanted to come as a family to run and everything, and then we have a bunch of volunteers as well. But we actually have some families who are running as well as office workers or making teams or buddies, whatever. It's an odd, wild combination of folks, but I think we're going to have a good time.
Now, question. Somebody may be listening to this program and say, I know of a child that is in a bad situation.
Mm-hmm.
How does someone I'll use the words get into Connie Mac? How does that work?
Well, you have to be a custodian of the child. Now, you can refer folks, and you
Right.
can talk to them and try and convince them that they need to, possibly, and it's temporary. They still get to see their children. It's not like we keep them and lock them up and nobody gets to visit with them. We welcome families to be a part of it. Matter of fact, that is a part of it. We try to minister to the whole family, to get them back together again. A lot of times people place their child because of health situations or financial situations or some traumatic event has occurred. But call 942-1400. Joyce Decker does our intake work, a wonderful individual. She's been there for over 35 years. I'm not exactly sure what our time limit. She doesn't look like it. I think she started as a 5-year-old at Connie Maxwell, but she's a good lady to work with. And if we can't help you and your child, then we'll try and recommend somebody who can. And that's the neat thing too. We really try to help.
Well, that is so important in today's world because there are a lot of really fractured families.
Unfortunately, yes.
And so many, this family journey ministry, that with teaching adults how to take care of a family is, something we wouldn't think we'd have to do.
Right.
But it is something that's necessary, and you're already reaping the rewards of doing that.
Right, and you can go to ConnieMaxwell.com. Let me suggest that too if you want to learn a little bit more. Or we're on Facebook, Facebook.com/Connie Maxwell Children's Home. And you can see what's going on and see how to become involved. And we do even have some position openings too on our Malden campus and on our Orangeburg campus. So if you're looking to be a cottage parent, if you feel like you're being led to do that, then let me encourage you to get in touch with us as well for that.
All right. Miller Murphy, thanks so much for coming out to see us today.
Anne. It's been great to see you.
Yeah, it's been great to see you. Hey, this is WCRS right here in Greenwood. Bye-bye, everybody.